Okay, let's take a look at example 1 now. We have to factor x squared plus 7x plus 12. Well, we can set ourselves up with two binomials that we know, all these trinomials that are of the form x squared plus bx plus c are going to factor to be a binomial times a binomial. You can set up already that the first term in each binomial is going to be x and x, because x times x gives us x squared. Now, because we see this plus 12, it's telling us we want factors of 12 that add to be 7. So let's make a comprehensive list of the factors of 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Now when I go about making my list of factors, I like to start always with the factor 1 and then the other factor, and then I bump up that smaller factor as little as I can to get the next largest factor of 12 after 1, which happens to be 2, and then I have 3. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you have this list in this order, but I find it's easier to not miss any pairings of factors that multiply to be that if you increase this first factor using the smallest jump as you can when you get to the next set. So now let's look at the sum of these factors. These two factors add to be 13. These two factors, 2 and 6, they add to be 8. These two factors add to be 7. And what were we after? We were after making a sum of 7. So that's telling us we're going to use those factors of 12 because they add to be 7. So I'm going to put a 3 and a 4 as the second part of each binomial. Now we want them to add to be positive 7, which means that outer, which makes our 4x, and our inner product, which makes 3x, both of those have to be positive. For this 3x to be positive, it has to say plus 3. For that 4x to be positive, it has to say plus 4. There's the answer. That's the factored form of that trinomial. Let's jump to the next one. So now, again, we know this is going to be a binomial times a binomial. We can set ourselves up. We know to get an x squared, we have to have an x and an x. Now, because this says plus 21, we're looking for factors that multiply to be 21 that add to be 10. Again, I'm going to write a comprehensive list. 1 times 21, then the next largest factor would be 3 times 7. 4 doesn't, any even number doesn't go into 21. 21 isn't divisible by 5. 21 isn't divisible by 6 because it's even. Now we're back to 7. That's our list. There's only two sets of factors that multiply to be 21. They have to add to be 10. 3 plus 7 adds to be 10. We're not going to be using that. So that tells us we're going to have a 3 and a 7. And we want our factors to add to be positive 10. So that has to be a positive 3x. That has to be a positive 7x. So they both have to be plus. This is the factored form of that trinomial.